I remember, Brad, when we first met, I think it was the first time in New York City, Breakfast with Champions.
Yeah.
We said, hi. Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. We said hi to each other. And the one word I heard you say, could be more, was about listening, Brad. Is that correct, Brad? That's probably something you would have said?
Oh, yeah. No. I think listening is probably the most fundamental trait of a good leader.
Yeah. So, Brad, I'm so glad you're here, man. Thank you for being here. Brad owns his own branding, marketing, I'm going to call it listening agency. And I must say, newly, because it's public news, is head of marketing at Breakfast with Champions. So, Brad, thanks for being here, brother. I'm glad you're here. And I have a lot of questions I can ask you, but I would love for you, please, just to take a minute or two. What's your best advice for the business owner, Brad? If I can just leave you space just to talk, because I must say, when I hear you speak all the time, Brad, it's amazing your shares, your knowledge. And I said to myself, I want to bring Brad Caldwell to the Smart Hustle community to share this man's knowledge and experience. So, Brad, I'm here to listen, but I have a lot of questions. But can you just start off and share with us something about, especially what you've learned about small business, especially solo business growth? Brad Caldwell.
Yeah, man. Gosh, thank you so much. I think first, brother, congratulations on Grow Your Solo and all the great work you've been doing, man. And this event, this is fun. I've been listening in since the start. It is going to be distracting for me to see chats, especially when friends pop in. Hey, Tara. Good to see you, dear friend. But man, I think, well, you nailed the first one. I think good leaders listen. More than anything, I actually shared in Breakfast with Champions today. I was speaking at an event and I stopped speaking kind of to do like the pregnant pause, like you're trying to be a really good speaker and you're just like, and then, feeling really good about yourself because you did something clever. And then I heard off kind of in the distance, 3 or 4 people just talking amongst themselves in a room of about 450 people. And I realized that in the silence, I spotted a distraction. I spotted a dislocation, if you will. And I think in order to properly assess what I think is the second most important thing, which is alignments, you have to be able to listen.
Yeah.
Because we're not all in tune with our businesses like we are with our body. Like, I don't have to hear my knee say, ouch, because there's a lot of nerve connections when I get up in the morning at 41 for my body to be like, whoa, go back to bed. Yes. Or, my man, you did that wrong. Like reverse.
Yes.
You rolled incorrectly. And instead, since I don't have all that acumen, I haven't walked with my business like I've been walking with my physiology, my anatomy, my entire life. So I don't know normal and I don't know change and I don't know progress. I need to listen. Listen is how you hear the distractions. Listen is how you really understand, especially when you are by yourself, but you are connecting to a consumer, whether it's B2B or B2C, you have got to be able to hear them in order to reach them. And I think so listening and then alignment, I mean, nothing is harder to deal with than dislocation. I always use the analogy of my own shoulder, which I did dislocate pretty bad. There's the debilitating trauma of a dislocation. There's the more major trauma, but not debilitating. And then there's the minor. And if you don't know the difference in the kinds of dislocations you can have in a business, you're going to dress every wound in your business like it's an amputation. Or you're going to underwhelm the stress of your business and keep doing the same basic tactics as if it's, I gotta set my alarm for 5:48 because 6 o'clock just don't do it. Well, that's minor, friend. That's just a little, you click your alarm clock or you play with your Apple Watch or whatever you do and you fix your alarm. But when it's, I can't keep good talent, that's entirely different. I can't close. I saw the guy from Thrive, saw Grant earlier. I've been listening the whole time, buddy. And, Thank you. And what he said was, we can get you the leads.
Yeah.
But it comes down to the owner, to the leader, especially when you're down to the one, to close. And oftentimes the problem with our closing is that we can't adjust because we don't see the misalignment. So listen, align, and execute, man. I love that. I think those are the 3 keys, brother.
I don't know, Brad, if you're prepared to do this, but you talk about listening alignment, and the third one again, close.
Close, yeah,
Yeah.
execute. Yes, sir.
Do you mind sharing? It's nothing confidential or anything like that, but I've been on Breakfast with Champions for months, as all my community knows. I rave about it. You may see
Yeah.
my IG. I tell everybody about it. It's up-leveled my life. You, as CMO, as it were, Glenn, Brad, can you share a bit what you're doing? And I say this not about BWC in general, but this is brand new. It started from 100 misfits in New York in the top of a hotel. Nobody knew each other. Brad's a dude. I'm a dude. Now we're building something. So what I'm trying to ask is, can you parlay that to the small businesses listening?
Yeah.
Many of them may be recently fired from their job, trying to build from scratch. So if you understand what I'm trying to align here, what you're doing for new, how can we learn? Go ahead. How do we learn?
Yeah. So I don't want to distract from the opportunity that Glenn's going to have when he speaks to you guys.
Sure.
Or
In
Sarah,
general, high level. Yeah.
But if you think about the beginning of Smart Hustle, if you think about the beginning of Spark, if you think about the beginning of Breakfast with Champions, which really you would say it was a seed that was planted, what are we at now, 1,005 days ago, when Rise and Grind got started. And then from Rise and Grind, something developed. So I think maybe the first takeaway is the baby that you think is beautiful right now might not be the baby you're walking with in a couple of years when you learn your chops. You know, like my first business is my current business.
Right.
My second business did not make any of the mistakes my first business made. So now I got 2 kids and I love both my babies, but man, this new one that's launching later this year, she's pretty.
Yes.
It's seamless. Got partnerships and alliances. It's partly manufacturing. I assessed manufacturing costs, things that 3 years ago, entrepreneur wannabe Brad was like, how do you LLC and what does that stand for?
I've been there.
You know? And so having come from the corporate world, it was a real shock to the system. Yes. And now as Breakfast with Champions, which is, I mean, really, man, it was a Clubhouse inspiration, right?
Right.
And it was a new thing on a new app that no one knew. And then 6-7 months after its inception, a bunch of us misfits, as you really accurately
I say that in a funny way, you know?
Yeah, no, it's real. I know the crowd, just misfits. And we all kind of matriculate in and give kind of some fresh wind to the existing fire. Yeah. And I think it ignited this idea that there was more and we could reach more. Yeah. And so now where we're at now is really looking at Breakfast with Champions as a media opportunity, a media company. How can we capture social media? How can we capture digital marketing? How can we capture event spaces? How can we capture one-to-one communication? How can we revolutionize things like coaching and accountability and messaging and inspiring people at all levels of engagement? So whether you just, you know, if you're not in the Clubhouse streets, you don't know this phrase, but if you're a party hat in the room and you just felt good for 10 minutes because you heard Ramon and the ding and the ding and the ding, and now you're looking up a bunch of articles.
It's 5 dings, Brad. 5 dings. Get it right. Ding, 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 ding. Go ahead.
And I couldn't possibly replicate Ramon. You would be someone I would watch that sketch. I want a Ramon Ray impersonator. If anyone on here is a Ramon Ray impersonator, I will give you my personal email is brad@sparkbusinessstrategies.com. You email me right now. I'll give you books. I don't know. I'll give you kids. We have 3. I'll give you an extra one. Man, I want to see that because I couldn't possibly do it. But that person who gets a little bit of juice from that segment that, you and I planned it, but we speak all the time. So we're prepared. We're prepared. Right. So we're ready to give our 25, 27 minute talk and then move on. And it was good for someone for a moment. All the way to Tara, who is going to be mentioned apparently this entire event. And when I met her in New York, that's perfect timing. Oh, that is marketing brilliance, Ramon. Yeah. Nailed it. You and your team, golf clap. Very good. But when she connects with me face to face and says, Brad, let's stay connected. Well, connectivity means something so entirely different.
Yes.
And so does that mean, Brad, I'm going to listen to your segments? Does that mean, Brad, I want to have you as a consultant in my life professionally? Or Brad, I'm just going to follow you on apps and we're going to talk and it's going to be fun. We're going to stay together. So man, I think what Breakfast with Champions is really trying to innovate and then articulate.
For sure. No, I love it. Innovate and articulate. Wow, that's like a hashtag right there, Brad. I'm curious, what does this mean then to the small business owner?
Yeah.
You are as a newly CMO of a brand new company. What can we learn, especially as we think of the end of this year or of the new year? What does this mean for that accountant, for that lawyer, for that consultant, that coach, that speaker, that consultant who's still struggling, Brad? Wisdom just came out. Clubhouse is what, 2 years old? Now we're told nobody's on Facebook. Chandler and Nate are telling us to use TikTok.
Yeah.
What is your message to them? Should they be worrying and running and trying to catch up? Should they calm down? What do we do, Brad? There's just so many messages thrown at the small business owner, and they're still trying to eke out more money. Any thoughts on that broad question?
I think first recognize that the thing that the environment, the atmosphere that brought me and you together, that created in essence Breakfast with Champions, that has allowed the springboard and the connectivity all at the same time, is a year old. There's a lot of Clubhouse rooms that are celebrating, oh, I was one of the first users, and they mean November.
Right. That's true.
So when we're talking about small business and what your small business can do, like personal story, when 2020 started, I had so many good plans for my business. I had strategies and funnels and all these other great things. And then obviously what happened. But as a company, we hold very loosely to our methods.
Sure.
We don't ever want to be accused of methodology over solutions. So we won't make idols out of our methods. Instead, we'll make heroes out of our clients. That's kind of our goal. That's our core ethos. And so when we look at that and we realize, well, if we're nervous,
right,
what's this going to mean for our clients? And I did what I never do. Now I know you only know me in this way,
sure,
but in early 2020, no one knew Brad Caldwell's name, and everyone who knew Spark just knew Spark.
Right.
I talked like there was a big old team. It was me by myself and a couple of 1099s.
Sure.
And it changed because I said, well, I got to get in front of the camera and tell people it's going to be okay. Because that's what I was telling my team. And so we were working like dogs, feeling great. Yes. And we were doubling. And then we tripled. Then we quadrupled. And then we quintupled. And I think the only reason we quintupled and it stopped there is because I don't know how to say whatever is after quintuple. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm from the South.
I don't know what that is either.
You know what I mean? We're gonna say sixtupled, and it's not right. It's not right. Sixtupled is not accurate. It's not what it is. But when we looked at the strategy that we executed, it was very simple. We knew who we were sent to serve, and we knew how we were. That's a lot of children, a sextuplet. And we knew exactly who we were going to help.
Yes.
And so when a problem arose, we just made a pivot. Now I want to be real careful with that word because I'm a little averse to the word pivot.
I got you.
Because if you're here now and you're a solo entrepreneur as a response to 2020 and you worked in the healthcare industry and today you're a digital marketer, friend, you didn't pivot. You moved. Stop saying pivot. That's disingenuous. The reason it's so hard is because you unearthed and walked away and then replanted. That's what that is. And so make sure you know the difference. A pivot for me in the branding and marketing space is to represent a larger brand as a part of their company, which is what we've done with Breakfast of Champions. Because up until now, we haven't had companies that really went far above 5 million annual.
Sure.
And it's been really good. So I think that's an excellent way to state it. Because for some of us, we need to move.
Yeah.
You know, some of our prayers are often like, man, I just pray God gives me a pivot. Sometimes the prayer is, Lord, move or move me. Like,
Yes.
and he'll do that. He'll do that work. And so I think, man, the biggest opportunity for the solo entrepreneur is to recognize that the secret sauce is the entrepreneur. It's not
Yeah.
the product. It's not the service. It's not the mission.
Mm.
It's the person who's doing the work.
Yeah.
Because things may change, and when things change, or it's going to get dark, or it's going to get hard,
Right.
it's going to be tricky. You're going to lose the client or lose the bid, or you're going to have a great event and then it's going to hit a flat note.
Yep.
Something's going to go bad. You're going to get your shot to say that thing in that clubhouse room, and then you'll get the red bar of death. And you have a connectivity issue. And if you know anything about business, you know it is riddled with connectivity issues.
Yeah.
All the time. Because right now, in order to do this, there are 4 human beings downstairs that I'm not with. Connectivity issue.
And mine are two of my human beings upstairs.
Yeah. And in order to do this, I'm not doing this.
Yes.
Or this.
Yes.
Working on the book that's on that whiteboard over there, or answering copious emails from Sarah.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I mean? And so when we make that, I'm gonna tell you what we do. We choose to cheat.
Yeah.
Because everybody cheats something. And we have to reckon with the fact that all the choices of entrepreneurship are on us. It might not always benefit us. It might not always work out for us. It might not always be our jam. However, it is my call.
Wow.
I'm not where the buck stops. I'm where it gets manufactured. I'm where the buck gets discussed. I'm where the valuation of the buck came from, and I'm where the buck stops. Yeah. And then when I create a team, and that's the next step, is learning how to let go of some of the responsibilities of that leadership, even when you're hiring VAs and event coordinators. And like you said at the beginning, could you do the graphics? Yes. Right. What did you say? They might be busted.
They're gonna be busted. I said I could do the graphic, be busted. I can do the event. It'll look terrible. I can do it all. I'm pretty talented, but it won't be as good as other people. You're so true. Brad, I'm curious, how have you learned how to let go in that? Because you said as your business is growing, that's one thing that's hard for solo business owners. Seth Godin said it. I interviewed him on BWC some weeks ago, that as we do it the cheapest, the fastest, the bestest, everything to our chagrin. So anything that you've done, Brad, where you've had to say, you know what, I've asked Becky to do this, I've asked, George to do this, when you've had to say, yeah, what do you do when you've had to let go and delegate and move on? So you're not back to the same place. Any thoughts on that?
There's really no reason to execute listening if you can't execute understanding.
Wow. Okay.
It's a waste of time. Like we waste so much time hearing people talk, not listening to what they say.
Yes.
We will ask our team the right question, but we don't listen for the answers. And then we don't listen for the answers because we don't want to affect change. We don't want to do something different. We want to do what we've done because we know our own capacity to increase it. So we think we can get more. And that the most frustrating thing about old adages is that they're old and we still don't listen to them.
That is true, Brad.
You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
What's the definition of lunacy? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different
the same result. Yes, correct.
Yes. And so I think if we're going to take the time to listen, we need to take the time to understand. And as you develop teams, as you develop strengths and weaknesses within your own infrastructure and your own leadership, because the first person you're leading every day is you.
Yourself. Yep.
And that's not going to change now that we have a team of 5 or 6. And there's another company with partners, and I'm the CEO of that one, but I'm talking to equal people.
Yep.
And I'm not the boss in that room. I am not where the buck stops. That buck gets passed around like craziness, which is something new for me to learn. But the people who were invested in that new venture, when I ask them a question, some days they're going to listen to me like I created it. And some days they're going to listen to me like I'm equal. And some days they're going to wake up with the bad knee and be in a bad mood. And I got to understand it, especially in circumstances of change. I think the biggest lesson we learned in 2020 is that we suck at adjusting We're bad at it, man.
That's true.
We're bad at it.
And hopefully this time has caused us to get better and better for sure. But listen,
Absolutely.
Brad Caldwell, what's a great place that people can go to learn more about you, to connect more with you? What's your best place? I know there's a few different places, but any particular place you'd like to?
Again, if you are a Ramon Ray, I say this with all sincerity.
Okay.
If you are a Ramon Ray impersonator, it's Brad at sparkbusinessstrategies.com. Please email me. If you're not, you're welcome to check out my website. This is brandstrategy.com, or just find me on them social media streets. Follow Breakfast with Champions. I'm always around.
Absolutely. Brad Caldwell, I really appreciate your time. As you said, you have a lot of things to do. You have a huge priority, and you said yes to me. It means a lot. I appreciate it really more than you know. So thank you, Brad Caldwell, for joining me today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, buddy. Thank you for this, and you and your team have done a great job, man. Keep it up.
Be blessed, man.
Yes,
Love
sir.
you, brother. Take care.
You too, man.